right there. That's also the symbol of the 4 lunar cycles. That's also a symbol of the 4 seasons, 4 directions. This is where you get the news from. But they demonize all of this stuff and have us out here thinking that this ain't reality. But everybody else been using our science for their reality. We've been told that this right here is just, y'all don't need to be studying that. What y'all studying that for? That ain't gonna help.
Congratulations, you've completed your spiritual awakening. How does that feel? You're like, terrible, it feels terrible. But I want to say that things are really going to start changing in your favor. This shift is going to bring a lot of abundance for you. In particular, if you've been investing in something or planning towards something for your future, I feel like you're going to be able to have it or attain it or harvest this success within 7 weeks to 7 months with when you're seeing this. Your confidence is growing exponentially, okay? You're turning into a baddie. I mean, you always were a baddie. Maybe you're closeted. Also, someone might be getting a cat, or the cat distribution system shall be finding you at some time shortly too. I also feel like you've decided to stop being at war with yourself. I feel like if you're watching this, you've made a very, very specific desire or intention to stop listening to other people, to honor yourself, to not I feel like some of you are making active choices to not be so obsessive about things. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's
you have the card at the bottom of the deck. You have copycat. I don't think even with this energy that this is being seen as something bad. To me, this could be someone.
The Anunnaki have a lifespan of 200,000 years, and Anu has been their leader for the last 50,000 years. Anu has 2 sons, Enlil and Enki. Enlil works with their scientists to figure out that they can save the planet if they spray microscopic gold particles into the atmosphere to reflect the sun's radiation coming through the non-existent ozone. The only problem is they don't have any gold. So they set out searching for planets who do and found Earth. They know Earth has life, but it's just a few primitive bipedal creatures who are less than half the size of the Anunnaki. So they figure if we have to, we can take them. So they send out a party of 300 Anunnaki and 600 Igigi headed to Earth with a mission of setting up a city and mining Earth's gold. The Igigi are actually a separate alien civilization that had been conquered by the Anunnaki many years earlier and made into their own personal slave force. So once they land on Earth in the area that we know today as Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki, under the rule of Anu's son, Enki, put the Igigi to work building a settlement called Eridu, giving them all of 7 days to do it. The Igigi are a little grumpy, but they get it done, and then move on to digging for that gold. And dig they did. For about 150,000 years, with ships arriving regularly to take the gold back to Nibiru. But it's not enough. They need more gold. Enki tells the Igigi, work harder. And what was terrible treatment before gets even worse in trying to get the Igigi to work harder. But the Igigi are done. Under their leader, Atrahasis, the Igigi proclaim, mine your own gold. They collapse the mines and attack the city. They lose and are quickly brought back under control, but the Igigi still refuse to go back to work. Enlil, who's like the top administrator guy, says they're treasonous, they all gotta go. But Enki, more of a science guy, says, slow down, we're not gonna kill them. I got a way better idea. Let's use the locals. They're not really smart enough right now, but if we give them a little of our DNA, I'm sure we can come up with something smart enough to work the mines, but not smart enough to ask questions. Takes a few tries to get it right, giving us a few mistakes along the way, like the Cyclops, but they managed to develop a race of hominid that we know today as Homo sapien, the first of which they name Adamu, which means first man in Sumerian. And if you haven't guessed already, how long ago did Homo sapiens enter the fossil record, according to mainstream archaeology? About 300,000 years ago, right about the time the Igigi call it quits. So, okay, problem solved. Now we have this custom-made local force to dig for us, and the mining continues. But it turns out that human nature isn't just for humans. I don't know if it's out of boredom or because after being here 150,000 years, he's starting to get the itch to settle down and start a family or what, but Enki starts eyeing the human women and starts messing around. Big no-no. But he does it anyway, and to no one's surprise, has a son named Adapa. So Adapa, being part Anunnaki and part human, is a little smarter than the other humans. And his lineage starts asking questions. Why are we mining gold? Gold must be important. I want some of that. Beginning our preoccupation as a species with gold as a valued commodity. And Adapa's offspring are not as docile as their forefathers. They fight back. And either through violence or attrition, the new aggressive human 2.0 thrives, and the more docile human 1.0 dies out. But human 2.0 turns out to be a little too successful. They overpopulate the cities and start riots over the lack of food. Enlil, ever the administrator, tries to control the violence by thinning the population through plagues and famine. Enki intercedes on their behalf, and a deal is struck that humans would have to leave the city of Eridu, including its lush and beautiful garden named Eden, and fend for themselves in the real world. So they do, and spread themselves out all over the planet. Now, some humans retain their relationships with the Anunnaki, producing hybrid offspring that sometimes, to humans at least, are giants. The Anunnaki have a lifespan of 200,000 years, and Anu has been their leader for the last 50,000 years. Anu has two sons, Enlil and Enki. Enlil works with their scientists to figure out that they can save the planet if they spray microscopic gold particles into the atmosphere to reflect the sun's radiation coming through the non-existent ozone. The only problem is they don't have any gold. So they set out searching for planets who do and found Earth. They know Earth has life, but it's just a few primitive bipedal creatures who are less than half the size of the Anunnaki. So they figure if we have to, we can take them. So they send out a party of 300 Anunnaki and 600 Igigi headed to Earth with a mission of setting up a city and mining Earth's gold. The Igigi are actually a separate alien civilization that had been conquered by the Anunnaki many years earlier and made into their own personal slave force. So once they land on Earth in the area that we know today as Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki, under the rule of Anu's son, Enki, put the Igigi to work building a settlement called Eridu, giving them all of 7 days to do it. The Igigi are a little grumpy.
For someone, this person in his energy, what they were hoping that you would do is, and for some of you guys, this could be something that is happening after the new year, that you may be either getting a new job or a new opportunity or something. But let me tell you something. For some of you guys, you may be fearful of like losing this opportunity, but God says this, okay? This is what I'm going to tell you. When you start to see things happening around you, they are going to get rid of you 1244 for somebody anyways. Okay, they're going to get rid of you because that's the person's plan. They just want to have a justifiable reason by getting you to react a certain way or to behave out of character, so that way that they can let other employers know. Sometimes people aren't really trying to get rid of you off one specific.
So while I was outside, the Holy Spirit was letting me know over the next 30 days that things are going to change. Basically, I was hearing enjoy these few days, like these last few days, living your life the way that it is right now, because it's going to be different in the next 30 days. I pulled the 10 of Cups.
If you're thinking about starting a business, I can tell you.
Yes, let me know everything on the planet was all about the Moors. There was nobody else before the Moors, so everybody was dark until they started getting recessive light. Just facts, all right? The mitochondrial DNA goes back to that original woman.
Okay. All right, listen to me. A very wealthy guy who is on his deathbed decided to tell me something. And I was like, wait, what? Okay, listen. Do you know we're all going through a crisis? It doesn't matter what age you are. Everybody in America is going through a crisis. But it's not the crisis they're telling you about on TV, and you're not going to hear about it, but you have heard about it. You thought it was called a midlife crisis. See, when I was growing up, a midlife crisis was when you had sex with your secretary and you bought a red sports car. I didn't know what that meant. No. Here's your crisis. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And who lied to me?
Okay, so this is CDEs. CDEs is the father of Eid. Okay, remember Eid is the mother of Enki. You feel me? So this is Enki's grandfather.
If Mr. Black and Mr. White live next door to each other, they have the same job, the same income, the same car, the same furniture. Yeah. They both walk out of the house in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Black. Good morning, Mr. White. But Mr. White is still looking, but you got something that I don't have.
You're saying he's saying that subconsciously.
Saying, right.
Now, wait a minute. All right, we'll give you a chance in just a moment.
In reality, white skin is a genetic recessive status, not as said by Francis Welsing. Even though the white population says that people of color are minorities, you're genetically inferior because you are non-white. That it is the white population that is the minority. The minority on the planet.
That's the reality you're saying.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
That in spite of the fact that black people, non-white people have heard over and over again.
Meaning that if you and I were to have a baby, the baby would have color, and you make the contribution and I don't.
That white plus colored, well, wait a minute. It's not Francis Welsing that is concerned about the disappearance of white. There have been multiple articles in the newspaper talking about the decline of Western populations.
Here, incidentally, this was the percentage of the West's population in 1900, the turn of this century, about 30%. This is where we'll be less than 10% in the year 2075. Here's where we are about today, 15. So we're not having babies.
So whites are not having babies, and there is the concern about white genetic annihilation. In other words, I look at, this is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday holiday, and people will say, well, here's a man who talked about love. Why was he killed? And I say that the deeper logic is, what if all black and white people and non-white people and white people love? What would happen to white people? White would disappear. You see, just mix all of the people on the planet up together.
In other words, if race didn't matter, or if color didn't matter, it follows with the jet plane.
No, I'm not saying if it didn't matter. I'm saying that indeed, if there was a mingling, if we mixed all of the people presently on the planet, stirred them up.
The white freckle-faced people would be gone.
Genetic recessive status would disappear because we have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation.
Because you're the blackest.
Because we, right.
The most color.
Right, we have this ability to produce melanin pigment. We have more of it than anybody else. And so the most pressure is on black people. If Mr. Black and Mr. White live next door to each other, they have the same job, the same income, the same car, the same furniture. Yeah. They both walk out of the house in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Black. Good morning, Mr. White. But Mr. White...
I came a long way to get here. Listen close, because I don't have much time. 3 days from now, there'll be a ship on that water. Europeans, they're bringing a book, say it's holy. They'll hold it up and offer it to you for this land. A Bible for everything you stand on. Do not believe that trade. They're not coming as friends.
Who are you?
I came a long way to get here.
I'm sure by now we have all seen the TikTok of the woman who went on dates with a man, and even though she wasn't comfortable, she kept going on these dates. And when she finally got to his house, she asked him, you know, what's up with you? Something is wrong with you. You need to let me know. And they sat on the couch and he shook his head and his face changed. Well, something like that happened to me, just in a different way. This story takes place in Houston, Texas, and this is all true. This happened to me. One night, I went out to a lounge with an acquaintance, and we're in there dancing, laughing, whatever. And at this time, I'm new in Houston, so I'm talking to various people in this lounge to figure out, you know, what's popping, what's the vibe, what's the scene. A man approaches me and we start chatting, and he lets me know that he's a DJ and a party promoter. So who better than to know the spots than a DJ and a party promoter? He tells me that he's about to roll something and do I want to go with him? And I'm like, okay, I got something on me too. I'm about to roll something. We can go outside and chat and enjoy our leaves. So in the front of this lounge, there was like a little seating area, like a little lounge within the lounge in the front. There was a couch, there were some tufted, comfortable chairs and little tables and a bar seating area in front of the lounge. And it also had like a big window, a big opening so that you could see people who were walking by and what was happening in the street from the front of the club. So he and I go out there and we roll our stuff and we begin to partake. He's telling me about all the lounges that he DJs at and promotes for and blah, blah, blah. Here's where everything changes. So remember how I told y'all that you can see the street from the front of this lounge? A gay male walked past and saw me and came into the front of the lounge to give me his business card. He was super sweet, super adorable. He ignored the man that I was speaking to and approached me and told me, I do lashes, I do installs, I do hair.
This is a love that God tested, made y'all wait, made y'all walk through the fire to be sure you were ready this time. See, last time you weren't ready. Last time this masculine let you slip right through his fingers. And you also let this masculine slip right through your fingers.
Nice to meet you. I'm Pinky.
Circumstances weren't right. You both still had a lot of shit you had to give up.
What, ma'am?
This time, God made you wait.
No,
God said, no, when I bring you back together this time, you're going to be ready. And I bet you won't take each other for granted. I bet you won't let each other go again. Let's get one more. Such a sweet love. Two more wants to come out. Ready for love and more than friends, baby. When I come back, don't you be talking about that. Let's take it slow. Let's be friends. I'm ready to love you out loud, girl. You're so beautiful, collective. I see this masculine looking at you and saying, you are so beautiful to me.
So I want to talk about some indicators that you are witnessing a chosen person that is an earth angel in real time, an angel of judgment. So one of the ways that you will witness these people is that they will always find themselves in spaces where there is heavy discord and betrayal. They are always being targeted in environments, and a lot of times it will seem to be very unfortunate, but the series of unfortunate events are just the way the universe has to sort of implement things so that they can sort of return the judgment in the way that they need to. So a lot of times an angel of judgment is always placed in like low frequency environments where they are deliberately targeted, but the universe sets it up that way